A boy is healed.
Yes, yay. And we're in Matthew 17 and
Finally, we've been healing all
14.
these little girls, and now we get to heal some little boys.
Yay, okay, that's cool. I mean, there was crowds and he healed them all, but not a little boy that we know of particularly. Yeah, super.
And when they had come to the multitude, a man came to him, kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic, epileptic, and suffers severely, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? For how long shall I bear for with you? Bring him here to me. And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then the disciple came to Jesus privately and said, Why could we not cast it out? Fair question.
Yeah,
So Jesus said to them, Because of your unbelief. For assuredly I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. However, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. And the only one who has even a close feeling to what it could feel like to feel that feeling is Simon Peter.
the
And it
feeling.
was the feeling that you would have taking your first step on the water.
Oh, okay, yes.
And it's
And then,
probably the only feeling that's relatable to that.
and then messing up. Is that what you
No,
mean?
not the messing up part of it at all,
Oh,
right? Because
but
that's not what we
faith
want to
to
focus on.
believe. Oh, okay, now I
Right. And to
the
do
faith to
that,
actually get out of the boat and start walking.
that feeling is what you would need to heal.
Right.
That's what he's looking for. He's like,
Yeah,
why couldn't I do that? It's because you didn't have the faith that you had to take that first step.
to get out of the boat.
Right. You didn't bring that forward.
Wow.
So why, how could you have?
Wow. Wow. I got you.
But did they bring up the mustard seed before this? That's right.
I thought
They
they
had the
did, but
parable of the mustard seed.
yeah, I think so. Yes. The kingdom of heaven is like the mustard seed, I think it's had. But this is faith as a mustard seed because it's very tiny. And you will say to this mountain, move from here to here, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. That's the kind of faith.
It's it's faith and then like audacity at some point for like an ant to go up to an elephant and tell it to move aside, please.
And then, so then you have to realize in like the David and Goliath, right?
Right.
Like David went out to, but he knew that God was with him. Like he knew that it may look like he was a tiny little ant out there
Right.
going against the thing, but he knew that his God would not allow people to disrespect him like that. So he was going out to defend God, and he knew that God would help him. So it was that faith as opposed to what it looked like, right? And I think that's the faith we need. It's not like, oh, we can't do it, but we're doing it because of Jesus.
Doing it because it was already said.
Yes, because he said do it in his name. We're
Therefore. So
doing
it's like
the power of Jesus, really. It's not us. If we get it to us, then we become puffed up and pride, and then we forget, right?
if you touch any portion of it with even 0.00001% of yourself, you will corrupt it.
Right. Which
It's
is what
not
happened.
yours. It's
Yeah,
never was. Yes, it is you, but it's not yours.
right. And
It's
I think
never
David,
was yours.
yes, yes, exactly.
So,
And then 21 is interesting because it does say, however, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting.
which I think
Mhm.
is just like the discipline.
A discipline and the, talking to God and understanding.
Well, some people look at fasting differently, but fasting is just disciplining your body
In whatever way,
every way. You're
every way.
giving it a finite amount of resources to get the job done, and you're putting your body under abnormal
Mm.
constraints to
Sorry.
make it more efficient.
Okay. Sorry about that.
But
Okay.
I mean, that's in theory what fasting would do.
Yeah. Mm.
But it's also in a more religious sense. Fasting is giving up your need and your survival need for just
Jesus.
eating. No, eating and surviving. And it's knowing that God has that covered. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, yes. Yes.
And it's like you make that as a part of your day, and then that would go into like, I guess, a part of like self-sacrifice, as in paying homage,
As the
as like a process every day that you would do.
I mean, you got to be careful. It's not a ritual either, right? So now you're trusting in the fasting and not in Jesus. Like
And
there's,
at what line is that drawn?
I know that's what I mean. Like,
It's drawn by fear comments, mother. What was that?
oh no, I mean
It's a
like,
ritual if you make it a ritual and you give it the name.
yes, yes.
But if you're gonna make it into something that it is, like, unless you're gonna
Like
define it, it's like, how do you call that a ritual? Fasting?
no, well, I mean fasting as in I have to do it every day at 3 o'clock to be prosperous.
What
And
about
then
the praying in like Islam 5 times a day?
right, well that's, I mean, is it good to remember to pray 5 times a day?
I
It's
think it
it's
is, yeah.
but not the part of
Their entire country
feeding
stops
yourself.
5 times a day for them to remember that
Like
they don't mean shit. And it's not like to mean like they're worthless, but like to remember that
to
they're
remember
doing
God.
this for somebody else and they're not doing it for themselves.
Right, right. So that's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing is if um like you put it in front or you judge somebody else, maybe.
Well, the judgment is part of it as well. And like the judgment's not up to us.
Right, it's not up to us exactly. So there's, Lord help us with that.
There's a lot of ways.
There's a
There's a
lot.
lot of ways to get the job done.
Mhm. Lord
So
Jesus.
the next part, Jesus again predicts his death and resurrection.
Okay. Yeah,
And
so
if
he's
I'm being honest, it's not again, it's for the third time.
and the third time that we know in the book. How many other times were not written down, right?
Right. Now, while they were staying in Galilee, Jesus said to them, "The Son of Man is about to be betrayed into the hands of men, and they will kill him. And the third day he will be raised up." And they were exceedingly sorrowful.
Which makes sense. They would be
It
sorrowful.
does, yeah.
Right.
There's just no context. So it's like to say if he just blurted this out,
Right. I know.
which I'd be sad as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Peter and his master pay their taxes.
Okay. So listen how this works, right?
On their ministry, they have to stop by the bank.
It's right because you still have to be obedient to the governor
Well, like
person.
regardless, they still have like their normal lives.
Right, right. And there's the respect of the people in authority in the country, right?
Because even at that, they follow the laws of like the country.
Right, right. Even though
At least
they
most of
seem
them do.
like they're kind of rebels, but they understand there's the thing. So let's see. Let's see.
When they had come to Capernaum, those who received the temple tax came to Peter and said, "Does your teacher not pay the temple tax?" Uh,
Hmm.
he
Right.
said, Yes, and when he had come into the house, Jesus anticipated him, saying, "What do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth take customs or taxes, from their sons or from strangers?" Peter said to him, "From strangers." Jesus said to him, "Then the sons are free. Nevertheless, lest we offend them, go to the sea, cast in the hook, and take the fish that comes up first. And when you have opened its mouth, you will find a piece of money. Take that and give it to them from for me and you."
Yeah. So, hmm. I mean, I think if we were stuck sometimes, maybe we can ask God to send us a fish.
That's
No,
true. That's true. Wow.
but that is pretty cool, right? So I see what he's saying on it. Like you I mean, if you think of it not even as a government, but as a family, right? You don't charge your family, you know,
Okay.
but you want to charge the stranger, right? To kind of is what he's saying.
Right.
I mean, the Israelites, the people that live in the land, but you charge the strangers coming into it, right? Like there's a benefit of living in a community, kind of, you know?
Do you think it's written in somebody's journal? Or no, they would have just had the money. Why do we not? Nobody caught the fish? Or do you think that that was enough for maybe the guy to just go away?
Oh, well, I think Peter went out and caught the fish and found him. Is
Huh?
that what you're asking me? I think that Peter
Yeah.
did what he was told.
I'm
And
asking for the follow-up. I would like,
what happened? You're asking for what?
how much was it, you think?
Oh, the tax. I don't know. I think in another gospel it says how much it is. I think it
Does this
might,
come up again? Do we get another fish story?
maybe. So in my notes in the bottom, it says Greeks that are the exact amount to pay the temple tax, denarius, no, demramus for two. DIDRACHMA. That money.
Uh,
So it's a certain amount of money for a temple tax, and they do talk about temple tax back in the old time. You know, like that was part of the custom of the and the law of God in a way,
hmm.
as far as I know. Now I'm, you know, so
We'll hopefully find a little bit
we
of peace.
yes, I think so.